Berserker rage burns in his azure-hued eyes as he brings glory and honor to his long-lost Heimdalla tribe. From the village of Heimdall, the ivory giant roars like an ice bear, and the winds of Gatla howl out his name. Man from Heimdall rides on a gilded griffin, his golden mane billowing in the breeze. Both Zweihanders sheathed on his back. He is off to war. Will he conquer his enemies? Will he conquer himself? The steel muscles of man from Heimdall gleam in the humid jungle air. Yet the man does not sweat. In meditation, his soul drifts in the frigid northlands he calls home. A passage reads, "The man from Heimdall looks up, his eyes blue as the mountain lakes of his homeland. He rarely speaks, but now his voice booms in the darkened throne room. Do not try to sap my masculine essence, wicked temptress. Son of Heimdall will never succumb to your seductive wiles. Thine spells are no match for purity and strength of will. Brothers of Heimdall, stand above the vices of flesh, for it is weak and corruptible, yet mine is forged in gore and strife. Queen, I have grand plans for you, man from Heimdall." She gestures her diabolical hand toward an array of potions and unguents. "First, you shall please me. Then lead my armies against the vicious cannibals. Not a muscle moves in the face of the man from Heimdall. Yet inside, there is turmoil. This goes against all he holds sacrosanct." What do you even know about literature? Have you ever read a book in your life? Man from Heimdall has no time for illiterates. The book is done with you. The edges of the pages are... You open the book to a random page. Man, his arms whirling like windmills, are soaked with the blood of his enemies. Mangled corpses litter the battlefield. You flip to the copyright page. This book was written in 38. Berserker rage burns in his azure-hued eyes as man from Heimdall, the steel muscles of man from Heimdall gleam in the humid. A passage reads, "Thine spells, I have grand plans for you." In the final page, to find out what happens next, you'll have to pick up Man from Heimdall and the Three-Eyed. The Greatest Innocence. Browsing through the book again, you can do it. Your educational survey is done. Did you catch any of that? No. Oh well. It seems rather an oh yeah. This is what I was made for. Correct. Nothing much is as the first question too easy. Everybody knows the answer to this. You, me, anybody. Incorrect. Correct. Franco Neg question got it under control. No, correct. The most final stretch. I've got it. I don't even have to correct everything and more. Congratulations on finishing the test. Again, the results and your subsequent grade have been calculated. You get an A. All correct. Impressive. Oddly so. You really navigated some treacherous waters here. Well done. A police badge on which you see the photo of a The 15th Indo-tribe. Because there was. The 15th Indo-tribe was comprised of 8 kids from Forberg and North Jamrock, running from wild dogs in the valley, hiding scents under rocks, and stealing clothes off clotheslines, and sometimes even the copper wiring of phone lines. You may have been one of them. This must be a childhood memory. The 15th Indo-tribe was your Indo-tribe, set to rule in Cylinder. The rest of the kids are dead now. Car accidents and drug overdoses. Only you remain. It's the ledger you found in the trash. It takes about half an hour. It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seems to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole in her skull, staring at the wall, her mouth agape. That's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, all you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. You never found the bullet. And then another body showed up, also with a square hole in his forehead. Who knows? Those pages are missing. What next? Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung out on it. In the middle of the street, on the roof, on the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young and they thought they looked cool on it. Yes, as you said here, total assholes. Young people are the worst. So anyway, you got a complaint about the damn sofa, or couch, or whatever it was. They were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took it to, where they also took photos of themselves on it. And cigarette butts, coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up. And you did. So congratulations to you. Case solved. No, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what is called a real goddamn job. You don't have time to be chasing down the couch assholes. You have a real job to do. What next? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden paper. Without resistance or sound, the two panels move against each other. It's like your hand shakes. Your The face of King. It takes a moment. Why? They decide. Obviously, it evokes. As you leaf through. The main feature, though, is a long essay. This so-called artist spotlight. You think you're settling in. Instead, where to even start? Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Thus, at the end of the... You see? One cannot...
Ah, come on. Well, if I had...
You flip back to the front of the map. Rigorous self-critique. Here it is. Hard facts from the man you are. You once jerked off in the locker room and were caught. You held a young woman by the arm and kept her in your apartment for 20 minutes against her will. That's right. These are not flights of fancy. These are real deeds, Harry, emerging from the darkness of your past. You tried shooting a fleeing suspect in the foot, but hit him in the pelvis. The old woman still sits in her chair, continuing with her. There's a gap where the name of that song should be. You should ask her. She keep. The old woman.
Yes, I can't really sleep anymore. Only a few hours a night. It happens when you grow older. My suggestion is, don't grow any older than you already are. That's a lullaby my mother used to sing. I sang it to my kids too. It's an old Samaritan children's song. Surrender to the night. Yes, it does.
The door has seen better days.
I'll be sleeping in my room in the whirling. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
Hi, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is turning.
Nothing has changed.
Put your hands where I can see them. Show me your hands. This is the pace. Show me your hands. Right now! Show me your hands! Right now!
Scavenged, battery-powered police lights protrude from her back. The flickering light show reveals a gun in her shaking hand. Her hand is trembling from some sort of neurodegenerative disease. You shouldn't be here. Something's very wrong with her. She's completely out of control.
Failure to comply. Suspect is displaying aggression. Officer, under duress! Officer, under duress!
Her eyes bulge with terror. Veins protrude on her forehead.
I am the police. Don't move. Don't move. Hands on your head. Suspect is armed and lateral vascular neck restraint. Carotid sleeper. Carotid sleeper. Critically reducing blood from passing through the neck of the suspect.
The situation looks bad. Calm yourself. Steady your breathing. This is dangerous. You're 70% certain you always leave your gun loaded.
It's a goddamn police shitbag. Hug the pavement. You're under arrest.
She's frantic, confused, teetering under all that gear. There's an open...
Suicide by cop. Split-second decision.
Oh, I see. Okay, the gun was empty. All is good. You're fine.
What is this? This isn't police issue. Police weapons have bullets. This isn't real. Police guns always have bullets. What is this? Why did you sell me this?
Grab the gun, right now. This might be your only chance.
No one ever cares anymore. Why would they treat me like this?
Okay, you need to figure out what to do with her now.
Nobody's ever around. Nobody ever comes to visit me.
Her scratched skin is warm to the touch, but the person inside doesn't even know you're there. The catatonic woman, especially now that she's unarmed, doesn't seem to be a threat to anyone but herself. The catatonic woman doesn't understand, probably.
Please leave the radio on.
Reflex to what? Being left alone? She stands motionless, just a heap of clothes and flashes now. Maybe if This door is made of metal. No one answers. No one answers. No one. No. 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 No one answers. You feel a little dizzy, a little unsteady suddenly.
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when I should turn on the karaoke carousel.
The stage is all set up for you. You feel a little dizzy.
So, are you ready for your...
The bar is full and buzzing with chatter. No one is paying you any attention. But still you feel your knees turn to noodles. Okay, now a couple is looking at you. Even worse. You're sweating. Just make sure you move, okay? Don't. Immediately, a loud feedback noise startles the room. You feel like an amateur. How are you supposed to hold the mic? Should you just sing into it? Where should you stand? Hands. Where do you put your hands? Does someone feel like throwing up? I do. A little. The stage is... You feel...
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when I should turn...
The air is thick with anticipation. Someone dims the lights as the music starts. Okay, here we go.
I would often go there to the tiny church there. The smallest church in Saint-Saëns. Though it once was larger. How the realm may rest there. Down through the mist there. Toward the Seven Sisters. Toward those pale cliffs there. I would often stay there. In that tiny yard there. I have been so glad here. Looking forward to the past here. But now, you are all alone. None of this matters. No, none of this matters at all.
A lazy applause fills the room. You feel your hands shake as awareness of your body returns to you. The microphone amplifies your voice in an uncomfortable manner. Someone coughs. Most people have gone back to talking now.
Good, good. Are we ready? I want to unplug the microphone now.
Last words? The lieutenant's door, no response. Still, no response. Where is he? Isn't it party o'clock? Is he not worried that you haven't found the murder weapon yet? Doesn't he want to go for a little drive? The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not too inviting. It's not easy, but your bones are so tired from what feel like weeks of work on the case. You have to try. After what feels like hours, you feel you might be sleeping.
Thoughts, baby. A million little lights in the dark. You're one fine instrument, brother. All those faces and all those names. All that laughter and screaming and scheming around. Every corner and every street.
Recorded in you. Forever on Faraday.
No, you're spinning tapes at the discotheque. The great unceasing disco of the mind. The flash. The bang. The endless learning experience. On and on it goes, for untold hours. at the disco where you first asked her to dance. Rising, rising, above the dark curvature, the great wingspan of sleep, studded with stars.
Behold, there are millions of them down there. The first time, the last time, the smoke in her mouth, the plotted flowers, the faces turning, changing.
It's the world, Harry boy. You can never forget this shit.
Beautiful. It's stuck on loop, whirling, spitting out words and images.
You're the son of the world again. Harrister, a ceaseless agent, picking up litter and old newspapers, collecting your little bubblegum wrappers and idiotic picture postcards. Meaningless, meaningless keepsakes.
Reading your awful letters and recalling things, aren't you? The endless names of the world. An address book you are. The map of a city.
It's too late. You're not made of nothing anymore. You're something now, Harry. I tried to drown you in the black water, but you re-emerged, kicking and screaming, running. And for what?
For the greater good.
Solving your little crossword puzzles. Doing your tasks. Crossing names off lists. Trying to become some sort of world detector. It won't make it okay. There he goes again. He's a real political animal, our Harry. He still doesn't see that it's the world changing around him.
He's got no idea what he's in for.
Beep, beep, beep. The alarm is ringing, Harry. The disco circus goes on and on. You barely slept 3 hours last night.
Do it for the wind. Do it for the picture puzzle. Put it all together. Solve the world. Good. You're up. Listen, there's something that's been bothering you for a few days now. It's a suspicion, or a feeling really, that things are not quite in hand around here. An earth-shattering deduction from your psyche. What will those guys come up with next? Every day, things seem to spin more and more wildly, out of control. The center isn't holding. And despite your efforts to moderate and contain these energies, things only seem to be getting worse. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned.
Yes?
That's one brutal motor carriage.
If I were a real skull now, I'd jack it, paint it in palm tree livery, then bottom light it, neon style.
A snazzy shit-ripped skullmobile like this would make a fine trophy. We could, like, hang fucking shrunken heads from the side mirrors. Cops' heads. Scary tribal shit.
Yeah, tribal shit. A cop carriage like this would have proper skull value.
While I appreciate the interest you take in my brutal motor carriage, I have to stop you right there. The RCM takes threats directed at its property seriously.
It's just theoretical work, Copper. No basis in reality. Man, if we were certified skulls right now...
I can tell you who we're not, cop. We're not snitches or skulls.
Which is not to say that the skulls are bitches and... On the contrary.
The part of this presentation you want to take home with you, cop man, is we're not part of the skulls yet. Murder? Yeah, sure. We'll gladly tell you everything we know about it.
Also, he was hanged. He was hanged from a tree.
Yeah.
This punk.
Hey!
Ah, this sounds like epistemology. A field so occupied by thought that it begins to question thought itself.
Sure. Understandable. Fuck, and I appreciate... Oh yeah, Cindy's a right proper skull.
Yeah, a true...
By the way, if you see Cindy, give her our regard.
The lieutenant on your left is unusually lenient toward them.
Old man, it does...
A young woman kneels on a sheet of ice, as if looking...
Yep.
Yeah, man. It's like, at death...
The Union does their share of policing.
Apart from the...
Don't you worry...
Yeah, we are. Mm-hmm.
It takes you a moment. The reeds bend for the constant. The trap feels light. No locus. No phasmid either. But still.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though. Unless you see one in there. I just see an empty trap. Okay. But after that...
It's great to see you again, officer. My wife can't wait to thank you. Go on, talk to her.
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you. Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. It's a tie, Mexican origin. The pin is an antique, quite special.
The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull with 8 eyes. You could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, but the phasmid, of course, is more important.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Ramblings? Nonsense. Your description of the phasmid is the most precise I've ever heard.
But darling, I didn't even get the size of it right.
You were a child, my dear. Really. It's extraordinary what you were able to describe. Now go on. Tell our friend about it. He's proven his interest in the field.
Reflexively, the lieutenant read his familiar notebook.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When, all of a sudden, I looked up, and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I'd never seen anything like it. The reeds turned into a creature.
She had no fear, just surprise.
I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left, went into the reeds. I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there knee-deep in mud, looking around me. I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel.
We were on a date. Can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report of the Insulindian phasmid I've ever heard. The sounds. She told me it hissed.
It did, yes. Like reeds in a gust of wind.
The way it moved, the colour, how some of its limbs were white, like marble. It matched perfectly with what I know from other accounts. It was amazing. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago. It's no exaggeration to say.
You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one.
It's you again. What is it? What's that, Copper? You want us to help little old ladies now?
You're local law enforcement, aren't you? Helping troubled civilians should fall under your jurisdiction.
Yeah. We'll send someone out. Who is? Wait. It's the pigs, isn't it? God. Poor lady. Don't worry. We'll handle this. I think she got some family in Kurong or something. Bastards left her alone when she got sick. We've been getting complaints.
Hey, wasn't Everott's B team looking for her the other day? They said something about her, I don't know, finding something?
Yeah, I think you're right, Gene. She have something of yours, Pig? You're fucking with me. Your gun. She had your fucking gun?
Sure did, boss. Heard him loud and clear. The pigs lost his gun to the pigs.
Well, at least I can see you got it back. If you have any questions. Auntie LaPlante, we always called her. Something LaPlante.
Marianne, amigo. Fuck you, pig. What the fuck you are playing at, huh?
Easy, Al. Don't let him get to you. Have one for Auntie LaPlante, huh?
Don't disrespect Miss LaPlante, Copper. Auntie
Marianne, amigo.
Be anything else you wanted? Was? Like before. Just an old lady. Her kids moved away years ago. Never come to visit. Never took her calls. She gets out every now and then. She did right by lots of us when we were kids. Always was a little off, but still. Get wanted to be a cop, you mean? Well, she... Shit. I don't actually know. Anyone know why she started acting like a pig?
No fucking clue. It's gotta be the crazy. Who'd want to be a pig? Yeah, you should be.
Whatever, Cobb. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of our own. Dunno. She lives by the water. Shit washes up all the time on the beach.
Police paraphernalia doesn't just wash up on the coast, people. It's not like we dump it at night. She bought it, collected it.
No problemo, cop man. We take care of our mentally ill here in Martinez. Ain't that right, boys?
Sure enough, we're the real heroes on these streets.
It's you again. What is it?
He tries to play it cool, remain professorial, but inside, this man is itching for some news on those traps.
Good. Okay. And? completely empty?
Surprise, tempered with fear and trepidation. He doesn't know what to think yet. Maybe you're joking?
No locusts? No phasmid either?
That's not ideal, but...
It just means the Insulindian phasmid is even more clever than we thought.
Of course, more clever.
Yes, the Phantasmadeia picked off the locusts and escaped. This is good news, though we'll have to reconsider the design of the traps, make them more secure.
Another trip to the Reeds.
Of course. Be sarcastic. Unless you have an alternative hypothesis you'd like to venture, mine stands, okay? Actually, no. Excuse me for getting emotional. This is a big deal for us. You've helped us twice now, and brought some great news too. My gratitude, and the gratitude of the Société Cryptozoologique de Ravachol, is yours.
Heartfelt gratitude. But does it feel like closure? What really happened?
Thank you, it's an honor. We should probably return to our main investigation here. This has been refreshing, but...
Helping cryptozoologists isn't really a priority for our organization, is it? The lieutenant looks out the window, impatiently.
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both. Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. Indeed. My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
Your nerve endings tell you there is no such thing as a positive surprise.
No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close.
Interesting. Something for later, this close call.
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind. No, very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. Two are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection. Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. In fact, it is 0.05%. Ever more magnificent, should our search contribute to making that number 0.075%.
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Yes?
Consider the way the empty trap was disturbed, as though shaken. Most likely the hands of a young person, hands small enough to fit inside the trap, too. You should ask the red-headed boy, Kuno.
A little hooligan. But what would a child want with bugs?
Oh, my dear Morel. You've been an old man for too long. Kids love to torment insects almost as much as they love to torment old folks.
Delinquents, my favorite.
Oh, you've been such a dear to us. Please let us know whatever you turn up. I have a feeling we're getting so close.
Well, I see you've got all the help you need. I'll see you tonight at my place. Let's play suzerainty, but no more field trips for me.
After this is your last chance to talk to Gary.
Really, Gary? We're getting somewhere here. I'd love to play suzerainty, but...
Lena, I'm sorry, but you're not getting anywhere. It was some kids. I know the little mutants around here. Leave anything out in the open and they'll steal it, even if it's bugs. Morel, it's been fun, really, but I need a bath and I have deliveries to handle. When this tea is done, I gotta run.
No need to apologise, Geary. You've been more than helpful. We'll have to take a rain check on that game of suzerainty today, though. We're going to follow this through.
He keeps the language unemotional, but it's in there. Disappointment.
hell no. I had no idea. And I'm still cross with him, to be honest. It's not like him. He's got his quirks, but dishonesty, disloyalty are not one of them.
I don't know what got into him, officer. Thank you for letting him off easy. He won't forget it. We'll make...
Very generous of you to help us out, officer. I'm sure glad to be back from that little excursion. I mean, officers.
Fuck does Kuno care? No, Kuno doesn't give a fuck about books.
Oh my god, I told you that shit is lame!
Shut up, see.
Now they're gonna take you to lame prison! Deny everything, Kuno. You need to lawyer up.
Kuno's not gonna say anything without his lawyer present.
There's definitely something going on here. Remember his pig's head shack? You should check it out.
Kuno doesn't...
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. This door is made. No one answers.
Let's go.
A weathered brown door. The number reads 20. The lieutenant motions to you to go ahead and knock.
You're right. Let's talk this through. We have our first preliminary identification. In all likelihood, the deceased is the husband of Billy Méjean. We need to confirm this, as well as deliver the death notification to Billy herself. Now, delivering a death notification is never an easy task. There's a reason why it's often called the most stressful part of our job. This is why it's usually done in pairs. You got this. I'll be monitoring reactions, ready to act if necessary. Dad, just don't say that you know how they feel. You don't.
The lieutenant motions towards the door.
Hello? Who is it? The police. A moment, please give us a moment. Come in. The door is open.
It's you from the bookstand. I don't think I introduced myself properly. I'm Billy. Would you like something to drink? Tea? Lemonade? We're out of coffee.
The lieutenant has taken off his foggy glasses and is busy cleaning them in his handkerchief for now. You're on your own here.
Is this about Victor, my husband? Is he in some kind of trouble again? I can come pick him up in the station if that's what.
Keep it together. You don't want your body language to tell her the news.
Sorry, I'm rambling. It's just that Victor often gets into all kinds of trouble. So, how can I help you?
It's like ripping off a bandage. The least painful way is to do it straight away, without stalling. She looks up, too anxious to say anything.
How have I been? You're not here to discuss me. What is this about, officer? It's me, Victor, and the kids here. We have 2 daughters, Jenny and Jolie. Jolie is 16 and Jenny is turning 18 next month. The girls are staying at their friend's place tonight, and Victor is out.
She swallows visibly.
He has a problem with drinking, and so he disappears every now and then. He's probably in the box drinking with his friends. I sent him to the library a few days ago, but I guess something came up. No, I guess I'll find out when he decides to come back home. It shouldn't be long from now. He's never gone for more. Oh, it's in Jamrock. The one at Mayrow Street.
Central Jamrock Public Library?
I think, yes, if that's the one on Mayrow.
It is.
Just to return a book of mine? Why? Why all those questions, Detective? Did he... I think it was, Thibault's The Glinting Curve. It was pretty good. His old leather jacket. It's just your average brown leather jacket, but he bought it as a teenager, so... Yes, the lining is hand-sewn, it's blue. I tried to make the thing more weatherproof since he's running around with it in the middle of winter.
She folds her hands across her chest. Here it comes. I don't want to. I don't want to do this.
Do what?
Officer.
Too late. You ruined it. Just say it now.
Excuse me? What? What did you say?
She's in pain. She's in so much pain. And so are you. Your chest is burning.
We are very sorry to inform you, but your husband, Victor Méjean, was found dead this morning on the Martinez boardwalk.
Oh. Oh. But he was just...
I understand that this comes as a huge shock. I want you to know that me and my partner are here for you if you have any questions. We are very sorry for your loss, ma'am.
What happened to him? Tell me. And you just found him there? Lying in the cold? How long had he been there?
She doesn't reply. Her eyes well up with tears as she struggles to keep it together. You hear the clock ticking in the children's room.
Is there anyone we could call for you? A friend, a family member, someone who could be here for you?
No. I just need to tell my girls.
It burns like acid.
God, should I call them? Should I tell them to come home? All right, I'll call them.
She can't take much more. Her stomach is churning. Soon she will have to go to the bathroom and scream.
Just tell me, what do I need to do next? Where is he? Can I see him? And who should I contact?
He was taken to the city morgue. The local coroner will be contacting you shortly to arrange the funeral. Here's his number, in case you want to contact him earlier. Is there anything else that the RCM could do for you?
No, I'll call you if something comes up. I'm still a bit...
Again, if there's anything we could do for you, then don't hesitate to call the RCM, ma'am.
She just nods, distant and inconsolable. The bed springs rattle beneath her as she begins to shake. These are her last reserves of strength. Her muscles will give in soon to a scream.
I'll take it from here. Thank you.
We should step outside and talk. So, the death notification. It's all right, don't worry about it. I'll call the station when we're finished with the day and let them know the name of the deceased. And, officer, I've seen worse. This wasn't the worst I've seen, okay? Now let's go.
I really have, he thinks. She was strong. She made it easy for us. All around you, The hisses and chirps of locusts fill the musky air. The earthen floor of the shack has been shaped into mounds of mud, dotted with little holes for windows.
Well, detective, it appears you've solved the case. Of the locusts. For the missing locust case, which is a sub-case of the imaginary insect case. So at least that's going well. Oh, I'm not being sarcastic at all. We are making real progress here. I'll let you handle the Kuno side of things. You are doing just fine.
Fuck does Kuno care? Yeah. Kuno took the books, so what? It's not Bugtown. It's the city of locusts. Locusts aren't just bug shit. They come out of the sky like a fucking shadow. Shit that...
Stop!
You stop! It's like they're fucking night. Locust City, Night City, City of Rage.
The girl forces herself to watch again, the corners of her eyes twitching from discomfort. The lameness is causing her physical pain. The damage may be permanent.
Maybe I am.
Oh my god, Kuno! He's gonna make you totally lame in like...
Yo, fuck you, see? Kuno can be what Kuno wants to be. Kuno's his own man. Kuno's free. Kuno made himself into Kuno. Kuno can make himself into anything. Kuno can make himself into a pig if he wants. Kuno can make himself into a... Kuno doesn't give a shit.
Don't make yourself into a pig, Kuno! You'll have to take me away!
Without a word, she disappears entirely behind the fence. For once, the boy is lost for words. He turns completely red now, with splotches of white beginning to...
I don't give a shit. I don't need the locusts anyway. Shit is all lame now. She was right.
The girl's face appears again, above the fence, just long enough to make eye contact with Kuno.
The fuck are they trying to catch anyway? With the traps? Yeah, whatever.
Hello, officer. I think I almost have it. So it was just a child.
Thank you for telling us, sweetie. This is good news, right?
Yeah, you're right. We just need to restock the empty trap. Then we'll need to inspect the traps one more time. And then maybe we can.
He has a 38-degree fever. His resilience has given way.
Darling, I told you to take it easy. You're getting sick. Maybe it's time to go home.
You're right, you're right. We can come back next season, when it's warmer.
He's right, dear Morel. Come now, we've waited so long. What's one more season?
You're right, dear. We'll get our shot yet. I'm sure of it.
The slouch in his shoulders tells you otherwise. He doesn't know how many more field expeditions he has left in him.
This place is much better for fieldwork in the summer, believe me.
Thank you, dear. And
You're right, Lena. The RCM is worth their salt. More so than they say on the radio.
okay, it's 1113 Tabernacle Road, Jamrock. But goodbye.
Holding the gun feels natural and satisfying. It reminds you of the day you first held it, with fear and respect, hoping you don't. This is your gun. It's more of a symbol than anything else, because there is always a rational, sensible, reasonable solution.
It's you again. What is it? It's you again. What is it? It's you again. What is it?
I don't know what.
It's you again. What is it?
I don't know.
It's you again. What is it?
I don't know.
It's you again. What is it?
I don't know what went.
It's you again. What is it?
I don't know what went. This orange machine is dead still. You slip your finger. No. If you want to try.
Equip the pry bar by...
This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand. tiles on the cube are still smoldering, like a smooth draw. The speaker comes.
Good morning. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? Good. Please repeat the password. Good. I've unlocked the production schedule.
Really? She just used the same password? Maybe those radio computer guys aren't that paranoid after all.
Fortress accident. Is the thank you.
Tiles on the cube are with a quiet determination. The printer starts printing. It's a project report written by the lead producer, Andrew Andy Schott, about Whirl Untethered, a radio game developed by Studio Fortress Accident. The first few pages give an overview of the capital and workforce, while the rest of it seems to be a production schedule. In its short time of existence, Fortress Accident SCA managed to burn through truly insane amounts of money. The first tranche of seed financing brought in 150,000 Riyal, but then came the delays. Eventually, the damage reached 400,000 Riyal, with only half of the game finished. 400,000 Riyal? You're my yo. These guys knew how to party. Let's just say it was a real adventure for their Igaunian investor. Fortress Accident employed 18 people, the bulk of the team composed of writers and concept artists. There were also radio programmers, sound engineers, a CEO, 2 marketing experts, and a single overburdened producer who developed a habit of popping Pyrrolidon in the basement to escape his obligations. But on the other hand, their obligations were piling up at an inhumane rate, a rate that could only be amended by Pyrrolidon. Why did Fortress Accident have so many concept artists? It didn't. No, definitely not. A few more producers could have come in handy though, especially when dealing with writers, some of whom routinely skip to work because of mental health issues and extremely unprofessional sleep schedules. One of them even managed to steal some valuable company property before skipping town for good. The production schedule depicts their glorious descent into bankruptcy. It was impossible not to fail. The project was too large, and no amount of money could satiate the ever-expanding ambitions of the development team. They tried to make a 4 million Riyal game with 400,000 in their bank account. They thought they could bridge the gap with pure willpower and imagination. They couldn't. No, even then, success remained within an ever-narrowing margin of possibility that, despite everything, never entirely disappeared. That is, until they discovered the Valley of the Heads. At the 11th hour, the lead designer, Jimsborn Suliswaf Jalisa, decided that what Whirl Untethered needed was a secret mystical location at the extreme edge of the map. This place was to be the Valley of the Heads, where the heads of all the headless constructs could be found. The player would have been able to choose a head for their headless party member, and each head would have been voiced on air by a professional actor. So many. The last count, there were approximately 10,000 heads for 10,000 headless men, all of which could be endlessly recombined. Do you really want to know? There seems to be a calculation here, but it may take a while. The lieutenant taps his foot impatiently, his arms folded tight against his chest. He's dying for a cigarette. Come to think of it, you are too. What if you broke the radio computer? What if it's never going to stop? Well, yeah, that and the catastrophic data loss. On the nature of the data loss, there's ominously little information in the production log. It comes at the very end where things get fuzzy and dark, where tables and numbers seem to vanish into an eerie nothingness before the Igaunian investors pulled the plug. What is clear is that one day an unidentified numeric anomaly occurred on the East Insulindian lintel front, just as the Wirral Untethered project was being compiled that day. When the project was returned, it was completely blank. The team spent weeks on the phone with Lintel, the service provider, but despite their diagnostics, they could never produce a satisfactory explanation or pay for the loss. Mysteriously enough, it seems that the off-site copy happened to be on-site when the catastrophic data loss occurred. It was the lead programmer's responsibility to oversee weekly maintenance of the off-site copy and, well, keep it off-site. An explanatory note from the lead programmer has been attached. S. Luukinen Kilda, the lead programmer of Fortress Accident. The off-site copy was on-site because there was no off-site anymore. Not for me, not after 8 months of crunch. I didn't have a home anymore, so I started keeping it in the basement in the ice bear refrigerator near where I went to sleep. It was perfectly safe there. The temperature conditions were optimal. Her former colleagues would agree with you. The production schedule ends with a few random notes that seem to be added sometime later, 4 months later, by an unknown author. I am the only one left, and it's gotten rather damp here. A few other businesses have gone under too. Slipstream switched to making skis, and the hairdressers just left, cursing Martinez. They're right though. Something's seriously wrong with this place. Martinez, all of it. Still haven't got an answer from Lintel about what happened. All I could get were the physical coordinates of the error on the East Insulindian front on that day. Since the computation happened on air, I reckoned it had to coincide with an actually existing location. I have compared the coordinates to a map of Revachol West. Turns out it's only 800 meters from here. The address is Saint-Brun 1147. I am going in its short time of existence. Fortress Accident, SCA. The first tranche of seed fund, eventually 400,000. Let's just say it was a real. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. The filament slides out of its.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a dye? I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. Of course. Tell me what you have in mind. How about an amber dye? Who told you amber was cheap? It's beautiful, really, and has been treasured since the ancient times. For 7 real, I'll craft you a 13-sided die from piece of amber with a fossilized insect. Maybe you have some other ideas for dice? Ah, yes, Fortress Accident. It's too bad they never finished their game. The Wiro Untethered die is a variation of a standard role-playing die, only instead of plants it uses motifs of ice and death, and loss of course. I'm thinking something made from alligator jawbone, cast in black resin. The reptile bone is as white as ice and dead as, well, death. For 7 real, I could have it ready in 8 hours. It's an icositetrahedron, a 24-sided die that can produce results for 2-sided, 3-sided, 4-sided, 6-sided, and 12-sided die with a single roll.
Loving it. So nifty.
Untreated bone is porous and prone to chipping. Cast it in something hard like resin though, and voila, it's perfect. Great, see you in 8 hours then. Was there anything else?
Shelves filled to the brim with crime novels featuring the supposed...
Oh, crime, robberies, murders, even sexual crimes. We're fortunate to have Dick Mullen and his stories to sort all that out. You're a police officer, apparently. You should buy all of these. They really do teach a person how to be a proper detective.
Sex crimes did pique your interest, but still, this Dick Mullen person only gets your pleasure centers down. Note, reading about Dick Mullen would not actually make you a better detective. Crime fiction, these books, furthermore, they have, what's more, not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officer. You see, a killing is declared. Dick Mullen in the murder house. Oh no, turns out yes, tragedy. After all this, you still haven't found the answer to the one question that your quick eye notices a small caterpillar crawling across the spine of a book. The title reads, Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity. A worn paperback from Dick Mullen's. Could it be the motifs of unstable identities and shocking betrayals? Perhaps you're drawn to the dark and noirish atmosphere. Then this is the book for you.
Of course. Such violence and immorality.
Ah, smallest church in Saint-Saëns, right? It was all right. Subdued. I might start letting people up there again. Now, what can I do for you? Got the 20 real? Good. You got the room for the night.
The tear machine stands. Your bottles.
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Sure, let me have a look. Anything else you're thinking of selling? All right, let's see it. Oh no, besides, this gear costs a fortune.
It feels like he would have accepted the risk if he hoped to profit from it.
Another time, perhaps.
In your hand, you hold Dick Mullen and the mistaken identity. The brittle paperback feels fragile to the touch. The cover features a pastiche of different scenes. In the foreground, a man in a dark overcoat clutches a pistol to his chest. Rising up behind him are two silhouettes wrapped in a passionate embrace. The tagline reads, "Detective Dick Mullen must prove his innocence after an old friend is murdered by someone who looks just like Dick Mullen." That seems to sum up the premise nicely. Needless to say, it violates nearly every RCM regulation for a detective to investigate a murder in which he is a suspect.
Are you really reading that, detective? That's probably for the best. Those books aren't exactly famed for their tight plotting.
It's much more about the dark and deadly atmosphere. The story opens with a knock at the door. Detective Dick Mullen is greeted by an old friend, Charlie Spillane, who's come to Mullen to ask a favor on this dark and cold night. Spillane needs Mullen to drive him in from Vespa to a small town along the Insulindium coast. Despite his friend's apparent agitation, Mullen does as he's asked, then returns home where he passes out drunk an extremely unprofessional and hurtful stereotype that's offensive to all upstanding officers of the law, but also extremely accurate. in your case. 2 days later, Mullen is arrested by the Vesper police and charged with the murder of Charlie Spillane. At his interrogation, Mullen learns that Charlie Spillane was shot in a bar in the very town Mullen dropped him off in by a man matching Mullen's description. Desperate to clear his name, Mullen manages to convince the Vesper police to release him for 3 days so that Mullen may solve his friend's murder and prove his innocence.
What's the matter, detective?
The lieutenant shrugs, resigned to the idea that his profession will rarely, if ever, be accurately represented in art and literature. They're not shitting you, detective. This is what the writers think passes for police procedure. Of course, Mullen didn't do it. That's the whole premise of the book. Anyway, Mullen returns to the seaside bar where Spillane was murdered and meets a beautiful, mysterious woman named Diana Deneuve. Deneuve reveals that she was Spillane's lover and that he was mixed up with a local amphetamine smuggling operation. As soon as Mullen begins pulling at strings, the whole conspiracy begins to unravel. Not only is the local police captain in on the amphetamine ring, so is the son of a powerful politician and a strung-out art collector named Torvald, each of whom has his own reasons for wanting Spillane dead. Outwardly, the old police captain is a real law and order crypto-fascist, a barrel-chested man who's beaten his share of suspects to pulp. But he's also dirty and increasingly paranoid that someone's going to expose his role in the drug ring. He would certainly have the motive and the means, but the captain walks with a noticeable limp from an old war injury. Is it possible that he was able to conceal it long enough to commit the murder? A typical privileged twat. In all likelihood, he's just in over his head. He does bear a personal grudge against Spillane, though, a former prosecutor who nearly brought down his father's administration. The kid doesn't exactly have Dick Mullen's manly build, but he is the correct height, and while interrogating him at his home, Mullen did notice a certain overcoat that looks suspiciously like his own. Torvald, the art collector, is a strung-out mess. Frankly, it's hard to imagine him holding a pistol steady enough to actually hit someone, let alone plug them 3 times in the chest the way Spillane got did. That said, Torvald and Spillane have a long history, and while interrogating him, Mullen discovers that Torvald was once involved with Diana Deneuve. Could it be that this is all over a sordid love triangle? One evening, Diana Deneuve comes to Mullen's hostel room in tears. The two of them drink half a bottle of vodka, and soon they're seeking comfort in each other's arms. Yes, comfort and pleasure. The warmth of another human's touch. The burning taste of liquor on her full, sweet lips. Well, that testimony won't be admissible any longer. The man's a prosecutor's nightmare. Solving a murder counts for nothing if all the evidence gets thrown out in court over police misconduct. As the two lovers share a post-coital cigarette, Diana Deneuve turns to Mullen and says, "By the way, Dick, there was something else I meant to tell you. The name of the true killer. Always aim for the center of mass." Whatever it is, Mullen never hears the words. A blow to the base of his skull knocks him out cold instantly. When Mullen comes to, Deneuve is dead on the hostel bed next to him. To make matters worse, his clothes are covered with her blood. Mullen trashes his blood-stained clothes and flees the hostel, knowing it's only a matter of hours before the cops discover Deneuve's body, if they haven't been tipped off already. Fleeing a crime scene, destroying evidence. Even if Detective Mullen didn't commit the murder, he should be facing years behind bars. The heat is on. If Dick Mullen can't solve both, can you solve the case before the cops close in? What is it, Detective? It's a dangerous line of work, but somebody has to... What's the matter? Afraid you've been hacked? There was never a time when he wasn't a detective. He was born a detective. For a moment, you cease to... From nowhere, you won't find the answers you're looking for here. Is it really so evil, Detective? Then, why are you still here? What are you trying to prove? But then, what does this book know? So, who did it, Detective? Who killed Charlie Spillane and Deanna Deneuve? Could be. Who knows? Only one way to find out. You begin furiously flipping through pages. Even as you know these books follow a series of well-worn tropes, you find yourself completely engrossed. You try to grab the pages as they come loose, but your dozens of pages scatter across the ground. The last fifth or so of the book seems to have been lost.
Ah, yes. The problem with mass-market paperbacks. They are not made to last. Perhaps this is a sign that you should get back to solving your own murder, huh, Detective?
Don't forget, it could have been the delirium tremens. In your hand, you hold 4/5 of Dick Mullen and the mistake. It's the ledger you found in the trash. It takes about half an hour. Murder. Tum-tum-tum at the hookah parlor was a case originally assigned to an officer called Joseph Mills, who is now dead, of circumstances completely unconnected to murder at the hookah parlor. Beaten to death by a throng of Villa-Lobos gang members when him and his partner J.M., only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve, was doing it solo, said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister, was on it for, like, a month. The captain got impatient. Shit or get off the pot, Mills. Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory, as outlandish as they seemed. Still couldn't solve the murder at the hookah parlor. Tough case, he said. Toughest he's ever had. No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, he'd been on it for months now. Said it was the final case. Said it was uncrackable. That murderer had vanished into thin air. That goddamn hookah parlor was all he talked about. Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum-flavored vapor all day. No, it's soot and water vapor. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, so anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor, in the middle of the day. No one else is in there, only client that day. In perfect health, too. Some kind of movie producer. No one enters, no one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing, just sucking on the hookah until 15:45. Then bam, he's dead on the floor with his skull busted open, blood everywhere. What happened? How can it be? Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin, movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man man just dropped dead. So you go to the parlor. You see cushions around the table. Tables low, heavy, really sharp edge. See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply, and you don't notice it until you get up to go to the bathroom. Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. The edges of the pages are, you open his arms, you flip to the copyright page. Berserker rage burns. Man from Heimdall rides on the steel muscles of a passage read, thine spell. I have grand plans for you, man. In the final, to find out what the jacket he is ambushed by a tribe of a small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelves.
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure, or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulinda, a very educational game for those interested in geography. Raubritter is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children. Friends are technically like family. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize. Lousy auras there. No, role-playing games are popular among those types. You know, who are into those kind of things. Personally, I don't like it. Not at all. I've heard they turn people into occult enthusiasts. That they have rituals where they try to summon entities. Highly immoral stuff.
This bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people.
Sir, please, no browsing in that shelf. That wisdom is not for free. I can't have you end up like...
Amidst the point of the book, and many others on this shelf, it serves platitudes, wholeness. When it's up to you, it's your own fault. The book features chapters. There's even a chapter on the ancient Seraïs tradition of you. Shelves full of biographies. Browsing through, suddenly, a particularly odd title catches your eye. High-Speed Love. Next to the...
I really must insist you... I'm sorry, I did not mean to rush.
Browsing through, suddenly, a High-Speed Love. Next to the...
I really must... I'm sorry,
Browsing through all the books with all their names makes your head sudden...
I really...
Next to the...
I really... I'm sorry,
The display rack is brimming with...
Oh yes, certainly.
The cover of this tattered paperback features the man from Heimdall. Behind him rise the harsh, snow-capped peaks of his native Northlands. In bold red letters, the title, Heimdaller Man, the man from Heimdall, unfurls like a banner. In the foreground, a nearly nude woman lies spread in supplication, her privates strategically covered by her flowing black hair. These images speak to something burbling deep within you. Quick, find someone or something that needs to be gutted, beheaded, impaled on a spike. The back blurb reads, His latest adventure serves as the perfect introduction to the savage Heimdall saga. Meet Man from Heimdall, his faithful blood brother Tyribald, the noble Lord Hrothgar, and some of their most fearsome foes yet, for the Northlands, for Heimdall. Below, in smaller font, you see the parenthetical, adapted from Man from Heimdall and the Necromancer's Treasure. Man from Heimdall, Lord of Hrothgar, and Man from Heimdall, the Curse of Nacht-Hera. A brazen attempt to bilk fans for more money by splicing together old stories under a new title. Their main concern is the continuation of the franchise, not making literary history. The story opens in media res. The Man from Heimdall and his band of northern reavers are in the bowels of an ancient temple, surrounded by an army of gibbering wights, led by the deathless necromancer. One by one, the brave Northmen fall to the relentless crush of undead, only to join their number as reanimated corpses. By nightfall, only the Man from Heimdall and his blood brother, noble Tyribald, are left standing against the dead horde. It is an honor to die by your side, brother, Tyribald cries, as his battle axe beheads one of their reanimated comrades. 9, Tyribald, the Man from Heimdall, bellows over the army of flesh and bone. Have courage, for the Northlands, for Heimdall. He leaps to the mezzanine to face the black-eyed figure, and like a mad ice bear, whirling twin Zweihanders, Sturm and Drang, he plows through the ranks of the deathless, surrounding the necromancer. The writer has never held a sword in their life, let alone two two-handed swords at the same time. It is physically impossible for a human being to effectively dual-wield Zweihander swords in any kind of real-life combat situation. And with deadly finesse, his twin blades scissor the necromancer's head from its body. The undead legions collapse like ragdolls as the dark magic leaves them, and the two Northmen stand alone in their cursed temple, where the bodies of their lost brothers litter the floors. A few chapters later, the Man from Heimdall and Tyribald are in a completely different setting, high above an arid desert, riding a pair of griffins that always seem to appear at narratively convenient moments. The Northmen find themselves in the court of a powerful southern king, Lord Hrothgar. The old king beseeches the Man from Heimdall to rid his kingdom of the Nacht-Hera, a subterranean clan of blind wizards who traded their souls for demonic powers. The Man from Heimdall extracts a high price from the desperate king. He asks land for the homeless desert pygmies living exiled in the kingdom's borderlands. Hrothgar, what do you mean? Because the flame of justice burns bright within his chest, because, above all, he's driven to bring honor to the name of his beloved Heimdall, because his noble Cutlan blood lusts for glory and conquest. It cannot be denied. What do you mean, is that all? He is the Man from Heimdall, forged in the fury of battle. Death was his sire, and blood his dam. He had but 14 winters when he left his frigid homelands in Cutla to seek glory and honor. That is his character.